r/askreddit, bartenders and bouncers. How accurately can you predict a patron's night will turn out? Can you spot who's going to start a fight, get lucky, strike out, barf, etc? Were you ever way off? You can usually spot who's going to drink too much, who's there to get laid, and who's going to make a fool of themselves. I'm usually pretty good at picking out who memorable people are going to be, but one time I was way off. This slightly overweight office worker in his late 30s comes stumbling into the college bar I was working at around midnight on a Friday. Just about everyone else there is a college student, and by the way he was wobbling I guessed he was wasted and looking to pick up a college girl. So I decided to keep an eye on him and make sure he didn't get too creepy or aggressive. Holy crap, was I wrong. Over the next 2 hours he worked his way through just about every group in the bar, bringing drinks with him and making friends with everybody. He talked to the people playing pool, the kids standing awkwardly off to the sides, the groups of girls out for the night, all while being as friendly and genuine as possible. It was really something to watch. At bar close, when he comes to settle up his tab, which was almost $200, I asked him where he was from and what he was doing. He explained that he had attended our university in his youth, and whenever he felt like he was drowning in how mundane his life had become, he would come back and prove that he was still the same fun guy he was in college. I didn't see him again for the rest of my year working there, but I often wonder how he's doing. As a bartender, I love to pick out a single person who is here especially early, one that I know will be here over the long haul, and get especially trashed. He gets there in daylight, alone, and sits with 2 seats between the nearest person, guy or girl, seldom looks up from his phone. He's typing on Reddit. I dim the lights according to his drunkenness, and he starts to wobble back and forth to what he thinks is the beat of the music I'm playing. Then he passively pays and slunks off into the night. Who knows what becomes of him? Tips well. Today I learned my bartender is on Reddit. I'm a bouncer. You can tell who's aggressive when you greet them and ask how their night is when you ID them. Either they will have a positive response or just a standard response, or they are in a chat when they respond correspondingly. I once had a guy come in, biggest jerk I've ever seen. Drove an Audi, obviously well off, very built. Asked for his ID, and he said really, and shook his head. Instantly I knew he was a prick. Or so I thought. He got drunk, then was buying the whole bar rounds, was really happy, dancing, being overly touchy with everyone. Not in a creepy way, just in a good time kinda way. Tried to slip my $100, I told him no, and he just said what about a hug? Of course. To this day, I have no seen someone who was a jerk while sober become a good guy drunk. I was a bouncer / bartender in college for 3 years. Most of the employees at my bar were pretty good at this. We would get competitive too. Best weekends to play this game were mom's weekend / dad's weekend / homecoming, when we had an older crowd that wasn't used to drinking with college kids. I won $150 by picking which mom was going to make out with a student. Not a bartender, but all my friends are, and this is a game we play quite often. I'd say we are accurate about 50% of the time. If we try to get into specifics, more if we keep it vague. There's a couple that are always so obvious. Like you, drunken white girl in a dress that is a little too nice for the establishment. You're going to find the hottest bartender and try to bang him, but surprise, he's probably gay and is not taking you home. And you, frat boy who's ordering shots at a beer place, you're going to try to hook up with the girl in the party dress. Half the time you will succeed, half the time you won't. It's really a coin flip. You, absent-minded girl with shit falling out of her purse. When you're looking for your ID, you're going to leave your phone at the bar and have to come get it looking like Skeletor in the morning. Don't worry, we put it on the charger for you. And you, creepy guy sitting in the corner most of the night waiting for the ugly lights to come on. An hour before last call you're going to pick the saddest girl who's been alone all night and hope that she is sad enough to leave with you. It's like you're hunting wounded gazelles. I hate you the most. There are so many more that are just, yeah. We are pretty good at figuring out how the night is going to go for someone. You do build up a night for people, but it's rare to be 100% accurate. There are signs to look for, typically as people are drinking or interacting with you, rather than when they just walk in. Someone that orders a second drink within 10 minutes of the first is probably going to get drunk. Someone that stands there and chats with you for a few minutes probably isn't going to get super drunk. The guy that comes in alone and starts immediately eyeing up women from the corner is likely going to talk to every girl he sees until he finally gets one to go home with him. The girl that comes in with a bachelorette party that isn't dressed up in pink with penises everywhere is probably the only single stable person of the bunch. Yeah, married women will go nuts at a bachelorette/hen party. People that wear hats indoors are 90% more likely to start/be in a fight. They are also 90% more likely to use the term SLT or CNT when talking about women. I always felt like I could tell how a guy would behave by how he held his beer. With their hand around the neck right below the mouth of the bottle were the immature ones who'd likely be tossed. If they held the bottle by the neck with their fingers, their dad was a lawyer and you couldn't touch them, or they'd own the bar. Ex-doorman and ex-barman had some right surprises from punters. The ones you'd have thought would end up being cunts would end up being the happy drunks. Other end of the scale would be the quiet girl who would get totally shit-faced and try to batter people with her stiletto shoes. Some of the worst would be the couple that start off all nice and happy, but after a few drinks she thinks he's after another woman. She'll be slapping shit out of him for some reason, and the second you intervene you end up with both of them trying to fight you. Pay was okay for a few hours work but never again. People who changed their regular drink would often be facing some life problem and would often become a different type of drunk, for the worse usually. Yes. The people who will get into shit are usually seeking attention and drunkenly showing off for spectators and engaging in multiple AOL behaviors. Examples of these behaviors include being too familiar with strangers, locking eyes too long, asking other men where they're from, talking about street gang politics, discussing drug or weapon sales too openly and casually, cracking knuckles and rubbing fists, adjusting hat, jewelry, belt, smirking and looking around a lot, nodding upwardly at people, letting go of a door that closes awkwardly in another person, etc. It's an odd mixture of street culture and old-fashioned respect, like not blowing smoke on people, holding doors, ladies first, etc. Central California nightclub employee. You can feel it in the air. I was never able to know exactly why I knew a night was gonna be busy, but I still knew somehow. A sure sign of trouble was the sausage to buns ratio being way off though.